Let's get right into it. Number 10, Radium Glow. Everything. Picture this. It's the early 1900s. You're slapping luminous paint onto your watch, your clock, your bedroom walls, heck, even your teeth, because everything just looks cooler when it glows in the dark. That's thanks to radium, the literal radioactive element people thought was basically harmless. If it sparkles, it's healthy was the vibe, which is just one bad marketing slogan away from try our uranium bath salts. The psychology here: humans are magpies for novelty. We see something new and shiny, especially if it glows, we want it in on and around our bodies. Plus, science had a reputation for being infallible. If it came in a bottle and a guy in a lab coat said it was fine, you basically trusted it more than your own grandma's soup. Except, well, radium doesn't know when to quit. It gets in your bones because your body mistakes it for calcium, then your jaw falls apart. No, really. Radium girls looked them up, were painting watch dials and licking the tips of their brushes for that fine point, then dying horrible deaths while their bosses shrugged and called it an unfortunate mystery. The only thing glowing was the lawsuit. This wasn't just a tech fail, it was a glowing radioactive warning sign. Literally, your glow-in-the-dark watch face. It was a countdown to losing teeth. Turns out sometimes when your body lights up, it's not a superpower, it's a court case waiting to happen. Number 9. Chlorine Gas Air Fresheners. Ever walk into a house and think, wow, this place smells like a swimming pool had a midlife crisis? Welcome to the early 20th century when chlorine was pitched as the future of clean air. Yes, the same stuff they used as a weapon in World War I. There were little machines you could crank that would puff out a refreshing cloud of chlorine into your living room. Imagine Febreze if Febreze was created by your worst enemy. Why did people do this? Because we trust anything that promises to kill germs, even if it also kills your sense of smell and half your lung capacity. The psychology here is a mix of germophobia and a bizarre faith in chemical solutions. If a little is good, a lot must be better, right? Plus, there was this almost religious faith in science knows best, even when science was a guy named Morty with a suitcase full of hazardous fumes. But chlorine, fun fact, is heavier than air. It likes to settle in rooms and stay a while, kind of like a toxic relative who never leaves after the holidays. Long exposure gives you coughing fits, burning eyes, and a whole new appreciation for modern ventilation. Basically, your home's fresh scent came with a free side of bronchitis. Who says the good old days were simple? Number 8. Lead gasoline. This is the part where the phrase "they didn't know any better" really shines. In the 1920s, engineers discovered that if you pour lead into gasoline, your car engine stops knocking. Problem solved. Except the new problem was lead. In the air, on your food, in your children, lead everywhere like glitter you can't vacuum up, except the side effects aren't sparkly, they're just tragic. Here's the psychology. People love a quick fix, especially when it makes their new gadgets, in this case cars, work better. And the oil companies, let's just say their commitment to public health was about as sincere as a phishing email. Anyone who dared suggest lead might be bad was labeled a crank, a traitor, or worse, bad for business. But your brain, yeah, it really hates lead. Lead attacks your neurons like a sugar-crazed toddler in a toy store. IQ drops, impulse control vanishes, and an entire generation is slightly more impulsive and distracted than necessary. Thanks progress, eventually scientists with actual integrity and lungs won the fight. But not before lead got everywhere. Next time you're stuck in traffic, just remember you could be inhaling vintage toxins from a bygone era. Delicious. Number 7. Amusement park death machines. Who needs OSHA regulations when you have the 1920s? Behold looping water slides rides called the human rotor and attractions where you, the customer, are the crash test dummy. Picture standing on a moving sidewalk that spins so fast you can't control your limbs, or flinging yourself down a wooden track with less safety than a cat in a blender. The real psychology here: thrill-seeking. Human beings crave the rush of doing something incredibly dumb, then surviving to brag about it. Plus, these early theme parks were status symbols. Nothing says you're sophisticated like nearly dying for fun. And let's be honest, the legal system was about as interested in public safety as a sea cucumber is in quantum physics. Accidents were frequent, bones were broken. At least one ride literally boiled people alive, but the sign said fun for the whole family. If by fun you mean a trip to the hospital, it took decades and a small mountain of lawsuits before anyone decided, hey, maybe safety harnesses are a good idea. Basically, old amusement parks were Hunger Games with popcorn. Number 6, lobotomy, the brain ice pick. Imagine you're anxious, or depressed, or maybe you just talk too much. Welcome to the 1940s, where the solution for pretty much any mental health issue was a lobotomy. You too could get your very own personality adjustment with nothing but a local anesthetic and a sharp object rammed through your eye socket. The ice pick lobotomy was so popular some doctors did hundreds a year, like it was Black Friday at the neurosurgery mall. Here's the psychology. As a species, we desperately want simple solutions to complex problems. Depressed? Why not just scramble the frontal lobe and hope for the best? Doctors were so hyped about fixing behavior that basic questions like, is this ethical or should brains look like mashed potatoes, didn't slow them down. Add a dash of social stigma around mental illness, mix in an overconfident medical industry, and voila, people lining up for personality roulette. The aftermath. Let's just say the results weren't exactly an upgrade. Some people were reduced to a childlike state. Others lost the ability to care about anything, including being alive. On the bright side, nobody was depressed because their emotions were permanently out to lunch. In the end, we all learned an important lesson: never let anyone near your prefrontal cortex with cutlery. Number 5. The iron lung roommate. You wake up one morning and can't move your muscles. Next thing you know, you're encased in a metal tube the size of a refrigerator, your head poking out like a very confused turtle. Meet the iron lung, a technological marvel that saved lives but also doubled as the world's most claustrophobic studio apartment. Got polio? Here's your new address: Iron Lung Main Bedroom Hospital Wing. At the time, this was the cutting edge of respiratory technology. The psychology is all about hope. When you're terrified of suffocating, you'll accept literally anything that keeps your lungs inflating. But the trade-off was brutal. Imagine spending years, sometimes decades, unable to move, social life limited to whatever people shouted at your head. Even better, these giant tubes made you a medical celebrity. Journalists love to write heartwarming stories about kids in iron lungs, like being sealed inside a steel coffin was character building. Meanwhile, hospital wards filled up with rows of these machines, each one hissing and clanking like a steampunk nightmare. The ultimate irony: the iron lung's greatest achievement was to remind everyone why vaccines are the best invention ever. Number 4. Asbestos, the magic mineral. Once upon a time, asbestos was the duct tape of the universe. Need something fireproof? Asbestos. Insulate your house? Asbestos. Make your baby's crib mattress less flammable? Sprinkle a little asbestos on top. Seriously, they put this stuff in everything from toasters to snow for Christmas decorations. Why? Because nothing says holidays like a respiratory lawsuit. Psychology check. Humans love invincibility. If you find a material that can't burn, melt, or explode, you want it in every product you own. Asbestos was cheap, tough, and magical, at least until people started coughing up blood. The big catch: those tiny fibers are basically suicide notes for your lungs. Decades later, people started getting cancer faster than you could say class action lawsuit. For years, manufacturers denied everything. It's fine. Just don't inhale, as if breathing was optional. Only after entire towns were riddled with mesothelioma did anyone admit, oops, maybe don't use this for baby pajamas. If you're ever nostalgic for the past, remember it's brought to you by asbestos and denial. Number 3. Blowtorch beauty treatments. The quest for perfect skin, nature's favorite punchline. In the 1920s and 1930s, beauty salons offered treatments like fire facials, which is exactly what it sounds like. They'd cover your face in some cream, then literally pass a blowtorch or open flame over it, because nothing says healthy glow like minor third-degree burns. Why did anyone do this? The psychology is equal parts desperation and trend chasing. People will try anything if you convince them it'll erase wrinkles or make them look younger than their birth certificate. And if a little heat is good, why not light your face on fire? It's spa day, but with more insurance claims. Did it work? If by work you mean cause redness, pain, and occasionally lifelong trauma, then sure. But the dream of eternal youth makes people brave, or at least mildly unhinged. The only lasting beauty was the lesson. If your beauty treatment requires a fire extinguisher, just say no. Number 2. The X-ray shoe fitter. Step right up, kids. In the golden age of retail therapy, shoe stores had a genius idea: X-ray your feet to make sure those new loafers fit just right. Sounds fancy, right? You'd slide your feet into a box, stare down into the glowing void, and watch your skeleton wiggle its toes. No big deal, just a little blast of ionizing radiation for the sake of fashion. Now let's break down the psychology here. We love gadgets, especially when they make us feel like we're living in the future. Shoe-fitting X-rays were a spectacle, a party trick, a science fair in every mall. Parents felt high-tech, kids were mesmerized, store owners just wanted to move product. The safety manual. Not so much. Workers and kids would get repeat exposures, sometimes dozens of times a day. But hey, what's a little bone marrow mutation between friends? The irony is sharp enough to slice your insole. The only thing those machines guaranteed was an increased risk of cancer. Eventually, governments realized maybe it's not worth glowing in the dark just to check your shoe size. The X-ray shoe fitter, a footnote in history, but not the kind you want showing up on your medical records. Number 1. The Atomic Hair Salon. Let's end big. In the 1950s, the atomic craze was everywhere. People wanted atomic cars, atomic kitchenware, atomic hairstyles. So naturally, some genius decided to build actual nuclear-powered hair dryers. Yes, nuclear, think uranium and fission, not just it gets hot fast. The sales pitch, Salon quality hair in a fraction of the time with just a hint of Chernobyl chic. The psychology humans are thrill seekers. If you slap atomic on the box, people think it's the future, not a public health crisis. Salons advertised faster drying, sleeker styles and the promise of living your best life if your best life included mild radiation exposure. Turns out radioactive isotopes and human scalps are not soulmates. Hairstylists began complaining of nausea, burns, and mysterious illnesses. It took a little too long for authorities to realize, maybe we shouldn't weaponize beauty. In the end, atomic hair care faded faster than a bad perm. But for a brief moment, you could literally glow with confidence, just not in a way the brochures suggested. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.